Good evening, everyone. We are at our third session this week, and we're going to start with this question. How has it been this past week for you?
All right. It's been good. It's been good. Yeah. I have some new opportunities coming my way. Um, yeah, it's been good. Things looking up. Definitely have some possibilities out there, and yeah, it's not perfect yet, but yeah, I can feel it, man. It's getting better for sure.
Thank you for sharing, Mark. It seems as though things are beginning to look a little brighter on your side.
But yeah, I mean, some minor complications, but it's a good sign. It's a good sign. It's a good sign.
This week was interesting. Um, I was at home. And I have this problem with trust. And these 7 days came around, and one of my officers gave me a track about Jesus' second coming. So this week was intense. I had to sit down and ponder my life because it was kind of scary. But I want to be on the other side. So it was a really interesting week.
Good. Thank you for sharing, Terrence. Aeneas and Carlos, it would be nice to hear your take on how your week has been. And you're ready to share.
Well, my week was it was really busy, and I got a little pick there, and I was trying to, feel up my environment, feel up the persons I'm working with, and stuff like that. I'm trying not to look over my shoulder, if you understand. I just I enjoyed the weekend better. It was less stressful because I got to see the children, spend some time, and spend good, meaningful time with them. But being assimilated back into regular society, I just feel like I thinking a little too hard on it. It's just walking on eggshells, so to speak, because you're not sure what somebody's going to be saying behind your back, and you're trying not to give a bad impression, so to speak. It was just a lot of work. It was just a lot of work, but seeing those children, yeah, that made it for me. That made it for me.
Where to start? My week was not the best, to be quite honest. So I had a little bit of excitement because I got a job.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
So I was happy about that. I'm not trying to turn my life around, right? But I gone to the job all excited. And then I came to learn that I realized not the same, but was friend of mine that I mentioned that I realized that he had actually had a relationship with my girl, but he's worked there too. So, so I gotta deal with seeing he home, but trying to avoid him home, but I gotta see at work too. So like I can't avoid him. I can't escape this. So it was just a battle because on one hand they're trying to do the right thing and they want a job and they're trying to turn my life around. But on the other hand, every time I see he, I just wanted to say he hard was saying. And then he would see me act like if everything alright. It can be alright. Well, you know what you do. Like how you could do that to me with the friends, but he taught me the friends. So it's been a battle. It's been a real hard one. It went from being high to extreme low. So
It seems as though Anais and Carlos, you had a similar experience in terms of feelings of unsurety, and it seems as though things were both high and low in your situation.
So like he need a track from them 7 days, boy.
Mm.
I want a track from nobody. Trying to reevaluate how my life is going and trying not to say the wrong thing or behave in the wrong manner is stressful. And I just want to. I don't need religion now to try to add one more layer of trying to fit in. I mean, them fellas don't even know what them believe in. So if you feel them know what them believe, you got another thought coming. Them will say this is happening, next thing happen, and none of that stuff don't ever happen. I believe in God. Don't get me wrong, but this religion thing ain't that this ain't working out. That ain't working out. So I don't need that extra stress. Thanks, but no thanks. I got enough right now trying to fit in and trying to get some sort of normalcy in how I should respond to people, how I should take on load. I don't need any extra load. I don't need any extra.
And yes, I was once like you. I was skeptical of taking the track, I didn't take the track to join them church. I took the track just to see what it's about. And start reading is a book called Steps to Christ. And I started to get peace within. I about joining the church. About getting that relationship with Jesus. Anything else can happen after.
well, I was about to say, and it's 7 days. But for me, Anais, there are times when, as I mentioned, I just get angry and I just want to hit or hurt somebody. But then you see when I just Lord help me, or I read just I might decide like she mentioned reading a book. The book I might occasionally read is the Bible, so I will pick it up and I read a little verse or something. Or somebody might see to me and tell themselves, well, he getting mad because he talking, but I talking, but I talking to Lord. I'm sure if he's always be hearing me, but he's be talking, right? And I find that when I do that, I find a little sense of the peace that she was talking about. Sometimes that's the only thing because I ain't gonna bother to talk to her. So is it I talk to myself and get mad? Sometimes I feel like I will probably lose my mind and get mad, but I ain't getting mad. So I just talk to Lord. He ain't talk back to me yet. Well, at least I don't think he talk back to me. But when they talk to you, it's got a little sense of some kind of peace. I feel a little sense of hope. It still be hard though, but yeah.
I need to talk to somebody because you believe, right? I mean, I already knocking your situation. That's crazy, yeah? But you believe that I have an opportunity. Remember, I tell you nobody want to work with me, right? cause the little thing with the bank and all that. Nobody really want to work with me. You know, I get an opportunity that will set me solid for at least a good 2 years. You know, it got some strings attached, you know, and what am I supposed to do? I mean, if it's not if well, it's not God who giving me this opportunity to finally get out of this thing, but I don't need to deal with any of those people, you know, who saying what they're saying behind my back and all of that, right? So I have the opportunity now, and but then
Carlos just mentioned prayer. Have you ever thought about just talking to God? I mean, talking to God is just like talking to a friend, you know. Say we're talking to me, just open up your heart, man. He will give you the direction to go.
Wait.
Real
So just
talk.
talking to God, that's what it's corporate? So what they're doing, that's what it's corporate?
Yes. You
Oh,
think it is a little fancy thing?
I thought how people be talking about it, I figured God say something like Heavenly Father who art thou
No, girl.
art no
No.
in that so
No, ain't nothing so.
oh
You could
so
be
that's
you
actually
care.
be prayer.
You
I
can be
thought that
you
just
prayer.
talking and hoping that he hear. I know that was prayer.
He hear you, you know,
You sure about
but he
that?
can answer you just in the right time.
So how you
Yes,
uh-huh.
no,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe.
Really?
Just gotta be patient.
Mm.
He can answer your prayers in ways that you don't even think, know, or even expected.
Hmm. That's
Anaya?
not interesting. We think unless that's not like saying you want tree. Are you still in love?
Sabe como é bom ver esse meio time das vezes só late. But
Don't knock it till you try it, man, and ask.
How I see it, well, for me, is either that or what's the alternative? They ain't got an alternative. Well, I feel it. They ain't got an alternative. So is it a that or I know.
I believe in God. I accept that there is a God. I believe in God, right? And I feel He's taught to me. I'm listening to y'all and trying to figure out how this is going because when a woman is staring at me and that it had me feel so uncomfortable. I was trying to figure out what is in this woman's head. And the mind tell me, man, just do your work and stop bothering about who looking at you. And admittedly, for a moment, you know, my mind was at peace that you talk about, Carlos. If you said this prayer, well, I thought you had to be saying all kind of untie my bow tie, you tie my bow tie kind of.
Nothing, nothing so. You could just say, Lord, help me. Just as simple as it could be in the shower, could be on your way, driving, walking. Ain't that complex?
I ain't really come here for this, you know, but I appreciate what y'all are saying, and I'm just trying to piece it together as I am going through. But why people gotta be so?
Hmm. I know you've asked that question. I have a question for everyone. What is the one thing, since you're piecing things together, let's go back a bit. What is the one thing that stood out for each of you during our last session?
Well, I could just tell you I remember about my situation, which is where when I found out that I had all these plans for me and my girl, and to know that she didn't mess with somebody when she was waiting for me. But I thought she was waiting for me, so that's what stood out for me. And we talk about it, and we talk about going for walks and things, which I tried. And we talk about going a different direction so you don't have to pass the same fella again. And I tried that thing, but here we are where I thought I was avoiding him, or I thought I was able to escape at least that part of it, but he's still in my face.
We're going to address that later in the session.
Okay.
Well, for me, it was. I remember when Ananias was, I don't know. I almost don't remember what he said, but I took it really, really personal. I felt as if he was attacking me. But listening to the rest of the group, I realized that I was filtering things in a strange way. He clearly wasn't talking about me. But it didn't feel like that. So it really had me checking back on myself and saying, "Oh boy, what else am I filtering and reading the wrong way? What you know did I misread? The situation at work. The urgency. It really, really had me sort of checking to see maybe there are things that I am reacting to. You know, for reasons that I just wasn't aware of before. Um, so even now, when I look at this opportunity, I kind of checking my motives, and kind of thinking it through a little more, because that session kind of showed me that yeah, I could read something wrong, and if it wasn't for the team, kind of pointing it out, I would have totally missed it, and just get in myself, So yeah, that was a big moment for me last session.
I just remember something else. I remember that Terrence had seen a shirt that he had really liked, and he thought about going and taking it up. But that would have been a permanent borrow. But he thought about going and getting his shirt that he liked, and he saw it, and he was able to overcome the temptation. So I also put that to myself as well. Whereas when I get the temptation to hit the same fellow when I see him, I can I can then say, you know what? I could get past this. I can resist the temptation and the urges, and I could do better than this.
Yeah, seeing myself being able to overcome, that stood out for me, because I had some light hands. I think I see something and I know it ain't mine, but I like it. So me being able to see something that I really, really, really wanted, and I had to be able to control myself of not to take it. That was a highlight for me for last session.
Well, I got a new perspective, to be honest, on how I should be viewing life. It's so difficult not to judge. So difficult. But I'm learning that even though I see somebody who appears a particular way, talk in a particular way, that I shouldn't think, I shouldn't brand them. I should give them opportunity to try to explain themselves and be careful, because I found the way I view people viewing me is because that's how I view people.
I'm glad you say that, because for a second there I thought you was talking about me again.
Nah, I that's why I guess it's a little hard, because I'm trying to think of what that person might be, um, what their motives may be, and trying to see some sort of good But then when I don't see the good, it's be hard. Like I know the person is really not so good, a scamp, and trying to be nice to me. What you want? What you want? Just leave me. I got too much to be trying to figure out your intention. But from what I'm hearing today, no. Start worrying about people's intentions. You just do what you gotta do. I don't talk much. But I learning not to bracket nobody. I'm trying hard. Cause that's all I hear your motive bad. I ain't even wasting the time. So trying to I know it start here. Heard you mention that before. I know it start here. But I guess I just need time to process and to practice and to do maybe some of the other things that y'all are mentioning now. Read a book, read the Bible.
Yeah, one of the things about your story last time that kind of had an impact apart from the other stuff, um, was there's a time when you describe feeling that it didn't matter anymore. Maybe you should just sort of back out and just sort of let the others, let them take care of the kids, and the team kind of rallied and said, well, no, you actually matter. That
Yeah,
that
that was
even
powerful. That was
yeah that,
powerful.
that even if you can't do it all the way you wanted to, still show up, still be present, and that still would matter, and I don't know how that will apply, but yeah, that was a big move. That was a big move.
But I thank you all for that. But I can tell you, it's still not easy because I still seeing people and they trying to figure out what your real intention. And it's easy to run away. I'm comfortable removing myself. I'm comfortable, because in my head I thinking, well, at least for the children's sake, that it'd be better on them. So
That is not true. Somehow, children always want that hero. One way or the
I
other.
can make sure I do my part though.
Yeah.
Send what money as I go. Send. Like I said, I enjoyed the little time I spent with them this last weekend gone. And I gotta try, but
You be alright, man. You be alright, man.
them people and them. Mm,
There seems to be a lot of growth that I'm hearing going on. With each of your situations, there's a measure of growth, which leads me to my next question. I need you to describe for me uh, how you handle situations before versus how you are handling situations now. I need you to, if you can recall or recount a scenario, in terms of how you would have handled before we started these sessions or even before we got incarcerated. And then I need you to reflect on how you would handle those same situations now at this stage.
Well, as we know, I was incarcerated because of aggression. So anybody before anybody say anything or look at me funny, I suggest one hit your heart was saying. I used to this hit your heart was saying before asking questions. That was just me. You talk to me a way that I don't like. You look at me a way that I don't like. I hit your heart was saying, right? But no, look at my situation. Before I want acts, I would just hit you a sign. But now I would walk away. I've been walking away. It'd be hard though. I've been walking away. I have been, now I know that is prayer. I've been praying. I have been taking deep breaths because God do something to try to calm down myself so that I do not lose my mind on somebody. So I think I'm making progress in the right direction. I got some ways to go, but I still think I'm making progress.
Thank you for sharing, Carlos.
I used to just do things and think about the consequences after, which landed me in jail. But now I have that sense of composure, self control, that what I would do before I would think about the consequences before I actually do something. And if I think for a moment that I get Emmy back at the road, nah, let's left it out. Because my whole intention is not to go back up. My intent. And so far, so good.
Thank you for sharing, Terrence.
Um, I did not think I was well. Okay, maybe it was wrong, but I didn't feel at the time that I was tipping the scale in the wrong direction. People were already doing stupid things in the company. They were robbing people the wrong way, taking advantage of the workers, and so I felt like what I was doing was in some sense the right thing to do, you know. But now I guess you could call it, I don't know, trust in God or whatever, but it's not worth it. I mean, it's not worth it. There are some things that need to be done, but it got to be done the right way, or else it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Because it cost me uh, much much more than I would have ever imagined. You know, I may never get my reputation back. I really don't know, but yeah, it's just committed to doing right the right way. And let the cards fall within me. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Still trying to figure it out. But yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Mark. Really appreciate that.
All right. I didn't pause much. I wouldn't listen to figure out where the body coming from, and I just respond. And while my responses could be aggressive, they're not always aggressive. Sometimes my response is just not to respond and to be away from there. Um, so that's in answering your question how I was before. But now you've given me some tools to make me hurt my head a little bit more now, because now I gotta think through it. I actually gotta pause. I gotta learn. Well, I'm learning, I should say, because I've started. Yay me. I've
Yeah,
started
you.
to pause or to recognize the pause for when things happen to me and how to use that pause. I don't know if that is more unnerving or if that is actually helping. Well, I should say it is helping a little bit, but I still feel like I got like I've been pushing 300 pounds consistently and tired and fag out. Just tired trying to work it through. So pausing, don't respond. Yeah, that's not what the body may have meant. But that body is an idiot. Just ignore them. Think about the children. All these different things to help you stay in that pause. That don't stress one out.
It's gonna be easy because, as I said before, you just go with what you're feeling at a point in time, which is just to hit somebody with saying, and then they'll feel I'll be good after because I ain't got a pent up anger and emotion. But no, you gotta be fighting real hard as to try to keep it under wraps, right? So yeah, stress you out a little bit. But really, me doing that also means that I ain't getting back to prison. So I just keep to myself.
Well, hmm, certainly won't go back to prison.
Roger that.
But it just feels like there should be an easier way. There should be a switch you could turn off, or you should be able to look at somebody and they know, or let me not think or behave the way I'm doing, or it's
Yeah, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, right? Everything is easy after it's easy, but never before.
so use a philosopher.
Yeah, yeah, but it takes time. It will come easy at some point, just not yet. When it's easy, then but it takes time. It takes time. Just every habit takes time, even the bad ones.
So who's one of the really hard parts? I don't know about one of them, but I don't want the really hard parts. I would just like if it would just be easy, if life would just be
Easy
easy,
every day.
when I don't have to be angry, I don't have to go through all these different things. Like, yeah, I just like it to just be easy.
You know they say that nothing really good in life that's really good comes easy.
So, but when you think about it, it mean that I gotta go through all the hardships. All the things
Girl,
so,
all the time so
it brutal.
life.
It brutal.
So, Carlos, you had mentioned, that need to hit someone. Um, so I'm asking the others this question based on what Carlos would have said. Um, what situations tempt you to go back to your old habits? We know that Carlos right now is having a situation, and we are going to address that a little later. But I want to know from you guys, like what type of situations you think would tempt you to go back into your old habits. Let's talk about that in the next few minutes. And Carlos, you can share in this moment as well.
Well, some people say money is the root of all evil, and there's another part that says money answers all things. So somewhere between the answer and the evil, somewhere between the answer and the evil is where I get stuck. Um, I think right now, right now, the situation is that there's an opportunity to do something good. Definitely good for me. Um, and it's that sort of desperation, where you feel like you're back against the wall. You don't really know how you're gonna take care of yourself. How you're going to get your own self respect back. How that kind of feel like you're all alone. Uh, and then opportunities come by. Where you actually can make a difference. Um, except little strings attached. That to me that's the challenge. That's the trigger there. How to kind of wait it out. For you is shooting the fella. I mean hitting him. Um, different people have different things that we trying to wait on. For me, is just trying to get some self respect back. Some stability back. You know, um, and waiting and doing that when you could do something else, like you can, right, do something else that will allow you to get ahead, but to still kind of suffer while yeah, that that can be rough. That can be really really challenging, but I think it's worth it. you know I but yeah, it's the struggle is real. Yeah.
I have a problem with trusting people. So if someone that is close to me that I trust do something to break that trust, I might flip, you know? But trying hard, that's probably the only situation that would cause me at this point, that would trigger me to go back into my old ways of not trusting and want to hurt somebody.
I think that's probably me as well too. I like to be comfortable in with those who are around me, those who I figure are my peoples, those who I figure looking out for me, kind of. And if for some reason, honestly, if I had you in my circle and you decide you're gonna betray me for whatever reason, some sort of betrayal, I I'm not sure that I'd be so totally prepared for that. I mean, I'm just thinking about it. My guard is up, like all the way up, with the most of the other people outside of my circle. But so thinking about it, I would I would trip if somebody within my circle um, betrayed me. I think that might send me, if I don't learn the skill to pause properly. I get in there. I get in there. Learning to listen. I get in there. But to answer your question, I think that would cause me to trip. I'm not saying y'all in my inner circle, but I get comfortable a bit. I don't really talk to nobody in my business. Coming talking to one of the strangers, and then y'all giving me advice and helping me and thing. And there's a certain amount of comfort that I have reached that I can share. So I ain't saying this to frighten one or nothing. Don't mess me up. But when they don't like it.
I think that there's another way. I think there's another way that this can be said. You know, I think that maybe you can reword that a bit in terms of, because it seems as though you and Terrence um you have trust issues, and for you, if someone within your circle betrays that trust, then that could possibly put you back into old habits. But this is a space where we tell our own story. We would have said this in session one, where if there's any story that you're going to share, that you will be sharing your own story. So if it is not Terrence's story, if it is not Mark's story, if it is not Anais' story or Carlos' story, then you don't tell it. So you'll be okay. Carlos, are you willing to share?
Other than what I've already shared.
You may have something that the others could benefit from.
I really know.
Like a 38.
Was that Mark?
Go ahead.
I was like, something we could benefit from, like a 38. Just kidding.
You forever with this short thing. You helping me or not?
Remember, we would have talked about this at the beginning. If there's any information that you disclose here that could possibly cause harm to yourself or to others, I do have to report it. So Mark, let's be mindful of the way in which we are speaking to our fellow members of this group, so that others can feel comfortable sharing. Yes? We really appreciate that so much.
You don't take any ideas neither.
At least I know now that the possibility exists that if I needed to have additional protection, I know an outlet that I can probably get.
You trying to get outlet to go back to jail? That way it sound like to me.
Once I did, I can apply for a good license, man.
And if we continue,
Good as an ex-con? Well, how is got them on work out?
if we continue on this line, I'm going to have to write you up.
Oh, is this you okay?
Okay.
Just pure
So-
humor, man. Pure humor.
Okay.
Just humor, man. Just humor.
So Anais mentioned a word. And this is going to lead us into the next section, where we are going to be looking at pause, think, choose. I think this is a perfect time to bring some scenarios so that we can practice what we would do in real time. So Carlos would have mentioned before where he started a new job, and the gentleman that slept with his girlfriend works there. So the question I'm going to throw to others at this point, because we want to help Carlos to be able to manage and to be able to function in a way that is productive and that he would be able to overcome. So with a scenario like that, what are some of the ways that we can assist Carlos? What are some ideas that we can give when we say pause, think, choose?
Okay, I'll go first. So first you have to choose, pause, see the situation, acknowledge how you feel. Because don't make sense pretending that it ain't bothering you and your left hand twitching. Because then you end up getting too close and run into problems. So pause, acknowledge how you feel so that you could manage the situation. If you don't acknowledge it, you can't manage it. And then choose to be the bigger man. Because at the end of the day, it's your life though.
When you say choose to be a bigger man, what do you mean by that?
Choose your outcome. You choose your outcome. He has chosen his, and he and she and whoever else, they got their own bed to lie in. But you gotta choose. I have a future. I got
Literally,
plans. I got plans.
they literally have
Again,
their
I
own
was
bed
just
to
being
lay in.
proverbial counselor. I don't really mean no offense, just proverbial. Um, yeah, that's me. That's the choose. Like choose your future in a situation. Every time you hit it, choose your future.
Like Mark, I would pause and assess the situation. You know, you love this girl, or you had loved this girl, but she betrayed you. And I will really, after think about, is this really the girl for me? And, give it some great thought, because if you love a person, you're not going to hurt them, or you shouldn't hurt them. And after all the thinking, I would, as Mark said, I'd be the bigger man, And I would go and say to him, you do, you disrespected me, but I accept that. You can have her because you're gonna think about it and you're gonna make yourself sick. While they are there living happy. And you thinking about it and thinking about it and ain't doing anything good for you. So that's what we would do. Just analyze the situation, thinking, you know what? Let you go along. Find somebody else. It may hurt, but let you go along, man.
It might hurt. Boys hurt all know.
Yeah, and it can hurt, and especially when you see her with him, you thinking about all the times that you had and all the plans that you had, but sometimes it's good to break up at that point in time than to actually marry and go along and then do it to you.
I heard about that. I know. I can't say that I have pause. I didn't really assess the situation, but like Mark suggested, I have thought about how I feel and I've identified the emotion I felt or I do feel when I see him, which is anger.
Anger.
And when I see her, I feel hurt and I feel betrayed. And when I do feel those emotions, I do prayer and I talk to God about it. But any part that you mentioned about approaching him, I don't know, but if you're ready for that part, because I tried my best to control my anger and not to got anything to trigger me to send me back up in prison. So I'm not that place yet.
Understood.
But it makes sense or it sounds like it makes sense, but ain't doable for me right now. I'm at that place. At the place right now, yeah, I would still hate people
It's still
saying
slapping.
yeah, so Archie. So when I think about the part you mentioned about saying that she's ready the girl for me, I think about that part yet either, because I really love she. So this say it was a one time thing, and I thought about forgiving her, and oh, no, we live together, right? So like Mark mentioned, looking to make plans for the future and do me and focus on me and thing. But she kind of started to do by getting a job, but then again, like as I said, he did. So that's another
You face like a pimple.
yes. So I just gotta see he come in one direction and it's going
Okay.
next. And she have to tell when it's I just going next direction because I just don't want to see. I'm in that place right now. Me and this man just sitting down and vibes together, smoke a little weed together, and get a little drink and thing right. I figured this was my partner, this my buddy, right? My brother, you guys, right? And then to know that he do that to me, like how you could do that, You know how I feel about she. You know how I feel about she. How you could do that to me. So what I'm saying sound good. But the part about talking to he, nah, I'm ready for that.
Yeah, it
But I
takes time.
will think about actually possibly not approaching. I will think about our relationship and think about whether like she's worth it. Um, yeah, I gotta assess that part and think about it. Yeah.
I don't feel that she at fault. I know sometimes it might seem like I overthinking all the time these different things, but when they're still together, I don't feel it was her fault, man. Sometimes men just say some things. If you gotta see it from her perspective, right? Where she is there, you in prison, and the closest thing that reminds her about you is your bro, and she love you. And like they say, if they say that's the only time that they ever really were intimate, sometimes the man say the right thing, the girl just vulnerable right there, and he was probably vulnerable too. This might sound weird, but he was probably vulnerable to missing you too. This is, I know it sounds weird, but he clearly gave in to whatever passions was going on in his head at that time. And I don't know if thing, but like I said, I don't blame the girl. I feel the girl loved it. I feel she was taken advantage of. I feel that she was not in the right headspace to manage feelings for somebody else, and she was trying to focus on you. I trying to see it from her perspective. You get me? Cause y'all still together, and if y'all want to have a life together, you gotta try and. To me, that's why I think I just overthink these things, you know. But it feel to me like she still there with you because she ain't going nowhere else. And I think this experience that she had would keep her even closer to you now because she will know now the triggers to look for to not have herself exposed or whatever, whatever, whatever. Um, you ain't ready for he yet, but whenever you're ready, think. But I'm blaming you, girl. I think you should stay with the girl. To me, she ain't giving you enough vibes that she interested in nobody else. She ain't giving enough vibes that she want trick you or I mean, y'all living together. She cooking. She's clean. And
Thing is, she current on lesbian way.
so y'all like coexisting. Y'all ain't really like intimate. I ain't trying to get in your business, but
Yeah.
but listen, yeah, boy. See, we saying out, you know, we want virgins and we ain't virgins. We go rethink how we studying this thing here. We as men, we saying serious.
Seems as though Carlos has to work on some forgiveness.
That's what you gonna call it? I know. What he just said as a different perspective. I ain't think about all of that. I gotta think about that part too.
Well, there you go. And this is the purpose of this session, to pause, think, and choose. So now you have lots of food for thought. So you can really try to figure this thing out. So there's another situation I want to bring to
I
you.
there for you, brethren. I there for you.
So here's the other situation. Someone brings you to a space where they're coming with a huge financial payout. Just this one thing you have to do, and you're set for life financially.
That sounds similar to the situation that Mark mentioned earlier.
Pause, think, choose. How would we go about handling a situation like that? It sounds like Mark's situation. So let's see what you can
That's a good question.
That's a good question there, yeah.
It depends on what it is.
Man, what he sell for $1 million. You can say that word for it. You can say that.
It's a space where you are free to tell your story.
But that's my story. But you don't have to write up. That's why it is.
Definitely not mine
I just
either.
want to say that for the record.
Okay, so let me give you some more in depth. He's being called, in the scenario, they're being called to shred some very important papers.
Well, that's not easy. And the thing about that is, that's a tough one. When it's shredding on the fingerprints.
Yes, but it's also illegal to shred that particular document.
But
The thing is right, because I don't so that's closing.
Pause, think, choose.
I mean,
how much money you gonna pay
you're
again?
talking to pay out your bills, right? So in my situation, you know, pay your bills.
It will set you financially for life.
What?
I
Well, look down there.
Straight them down.
Shred the papers.
Ain't illegal.
They ain't gonna link. Don't want they on the cameras or
Isn't this
name,
what
the
landed Mark
fingerprint.
I
in prison
am
to
pausing.
begin with? Let's
I
think
am
about it.
thinking.
But it can't trace back to
I ain't
me.
doing it.
I'm trying to tell you,
I ain't doing it. You know why?
but she get it trapped. So
A friend got a friend who got a friend who got a friend. I can stay poor because I tell when I ain't going back at the road.
the odds are you will end up in those.
I did. And I ain't going back. I ain't pausing. I ain't thinking. I ain't doing it. Bottom line.
But how they gonna link it back to me though?
I got conscious and I want to sleep good at night. I ain't going back at the no. I ain't doing it.
When you say it like that, that makes sense. But I mean,
I ain't doing it. I tell Winner
It is
from
tempting.
day one.
tempting.
I ain't
Very
doing nothing to go
understatement.
back at the road.
So wait. You say illegal to shred it.
Mhm.
Let me tell you, my
But
situation, right?
shredding it would allow you to be set for life. No,
Which means I can
more
leave the country
financial-
and go someplace else and
You
nobody.
can't.
What?
Boss man, I trying to tell you. There's not. I live that story, man. At the end of the day, you gotta decide: is that who you are? You understand? Because people will I like my situation, right? People have their own opinion. Everybody got their say as to who I am now, and my reputation, my skills, the spaces where I make a difference requires that people trust me. And right now, to lose that over a little piece of paper, ain't worth it, man. Ain't worth it.
Mark, she said that you can be set for life.
I found reason why I'm not doing it. Remember, in the inception, I said trust. I have a problem with trusting people who say one thing to you, and then when I can say shit, when the shit hit the fan, they would turn their backs on you for them to get out of the situations. So on that premise, I ain't doing it.
Yeah, I see what she's saying. I see what she's saying. But I would deal with them though when they get back home.
Or set somebody up for them.
Remember what we said about self-harm or harm to others. So let us ensure that when we speak, that we are speaking positively.
All right. You sure that the thing illegal?
That's the scenario. Terrence was going off of a moral compass in terms of being trusted.
He make a lot of sense, but I got bills And them children of mine, I would like to put them in a different school. I would like to uplift myself right now.
At what cost?
If you get catched or
You get back in jail and you ain't got the children.
and you can't put in school. What school?
Yes.
Always in prison.
Ain't worth it. Left it out.
But this is you're killing the
Left
body.
it out.
But you still do nothing in prison.
And then your children going for the father.
I would, y'all gotta understand. I cool with disappearing into obscurity, you know. Y'all understand that, eh?
Help us to understand it. I mean,
Yeah, you're right, boy. I'm glad you reminded me of that. I was just about to give it the getaway plan. But no, I'm just thinking that this is not one of those heinous crimes, and it may not even be considered a crime itself if certain parameters weren't in the mix. But I was just thinking, if I get the right lawyer,
Oh, I think
so my question to you is, what about the children? What happens to them? Did you consider them in all of your thinking? As we pause and we think, we're going to lead into a choice. Have you thought about the children? Because your situation is a little different from the others, because they don't have anyone else to think about. You have the children. So have you thought about them before making the choice?
that's what I was thinking about. But obviously, if I get through and it work out, but if I get caught though,
you go to prison.
You can't carry to school. You can't do nothing with it. You can't spend it. You can't with it. Nothing.
If you go in once, you could say bad luck. Twice,
A choice.
You definitely might not. The friends you know, you doesn't leave something, or you don't even be taken afterwards.
You may even lose them.
Yeah, we don't want you know.
Think naturally. Yeah.
Your mark said earlier that somebody said something about when you get in the that's not a trap. The more you talk about it, that's not like a trap. You better start doing it.
the possibility structure.
I think I would suggest you take your own advice and stop thinking about that so much. You're overthinking that.
I agree.
You're overthinking that.
So let's go into, speaking of thinking, let's go into a mode of reflection at this point. So the question is, do you still see yourself in the past, or do you see yourself as someone becoming someone new?
Definitely becoming someone new.
Getting rid of the past. Definitely pushing forward, yeah.
I'm in a state of becoming. The past is the past.
My definition.
Philosopher thinking.
My definition, though, guys. You know, I was in prison. I came out. I wasn't really telling myself in my head that I'm a criminal. I wasn't telling myself, I wasn't classifying myself that negatively, if you understand what I mean. I saw myself as just me being normal that had a bad break, but not criminal to say I want to change. But I have to admit, I am changing. I still don't see myself as criminal. I still see myself as having a bad break, but I do see myself learning how to make better choices. That I know if that makes sense.
It sure does.
So I didn't overthink that too much then.
So here's another activity. Fill in the blank. This week, he'll be okay. So this week, going into this week, when I feel blank, I will blank instead of blank. So this week, when I feel, for example, this week when I feel tempted to take up some to borrow an item of clothing, I will take a deep breath and I'll look in the other direction instead of taking the shirt. Do we understand what I want us to do? Good. So let's fill in those blanks. Who's going to go first?
Right. So for me this week, when I think, hope I got in the right order. When I feel angry, I will pause and I will take a deep breath. Take a good set of deep breaths, rather than me hitting someone.
Who'll be next? This week when I feel
Tempted.
okay,
I will pause.
instead of
Reacting. I would pause instead of reacting.
nice.
This week, when I feel, this week, you just mess up my whole statement there now. This week, when I feel hopeless, I will pause and remember that there's always tomorrow. Yeah.
Instead of
Instead of panicking now. Yeah.
This week, when I feel like at the end of the day ends, to do something let me start again.
okay, no problem. That's okay. That's okay. This week when I feel blank, I will blank instead of blank.
I don't even know what it is I'd be feeling.
You would have mentioned feelings of frustration. You would have mentioned a bit of anger.
I was trying to put them all in one bouillon, but of course, I can't do that. So I can just have to just choose one. All right. So this week, when I feel frustrated, I am going to pause, become like the heart man, instead of giving in to that frustration, I will focus on happy thoughts.
Thank you. I do
That was so
appreciate.
hard.
I am very proud of each of you for pulling that out. I know it would have been difficult because sharing how you feel, sharing what you want to do going forward, sometimes can be a bit challenging. But thank you. Thank you, Carlos and Anaya. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Taryn. So finally, one takeaway from today. What was the one thing that helped you most today in this session? What is one thing that helped you the most today in this session?
For me, I would say getting the encouragement from everybody else and getting a new perspective, well, different perspectives on my relationship and how I should possibly approach these situations. So, yeah, that's it for me.
Nice.
I think for me it would be Carlos's honesty. When he said he wasn't at that in that space yet to forgive, but he know that it's coming. But that honesty. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, you all reminded me that in my decision making, think about your children. I may think about them, but it's always in the context of getting through whatever I had in my head, not in the context of suppose that don't work. Then what? You know? So I gotta be thinking a little bit more of the children.
Um, my favorite part was just the reality check that sometimes it's hard to identify your feelings, and actually being able to put your finger on one and say, well, yeah, that's me though. Yeah, that's huge.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing this evening. You seemed a little bit more comfortable in your sharing. I do appreciate that. Remember, one of the first things I would have mentioned when we started these sessions, and I want you to remember this: you have your story to tell. It is your story. As long as it is only your story. This is the space where we come and we open up. But just remember, if you have a story to tell, if you need to tell a story, tell your own story. Now, next week, we'll be doing our final session. So I want you to come prepared and ready to lock in for that final week. We wish you all a pleasant evening, and I'll see you again next week.